What do an electrician, a barista, and a hotel manager have in common? Well, in this episode of maxTV magazine, they are all wildly successful women entrepreneurs of Saskatchewan. Hello and welcome to another edition of maxTV magazine. I'm your host, Brad Grass, and on today's episode, we're going to hear a lot of inspiring stories from women all over this beautiful province. Meet the CEO of WESK, Women Entrepreneurs Saskatchewan, hear how they help women succeed in business here and some really exciting initiatives they have coming up in the future. In fact, let's kick off today's show with a member of WESK at a beautiful lakeside resort, the Water's Edge Eco Lodge, and hear about their truly Saskatchewan getaway on the shores of Lake Erie.
This is a dream that I've had for about 20 years, and it was something that I wanted to do. I was with the federal government, and I thought, well, do I want to stay or do I not want to stay? And it was always, well, what would I do if I didn't work? And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't know what exactly I wanted to be. So I thought of Christmas tree farms, I thought of a flower shop, I thought of various different things, a little wood shop or maybe a B&B. And I didn't know if I could be content at those places. And the one place that I was always content at was my cottage at the lake. I love being at the lake. I love the water and the fresh air, and I love nature. So I thought, I want a place that is kind of luxury camping for people who maybe don't want to sleep in a tent or a camper, a place that there's nice beds to sleep in with quality linens and fluffy towels, a place where you can have good food and a glass of wine or your choice, but also a place where you can enjoy nature, where you can go out and you can go canoeing or kayaking, paddleboarding, that you can go hiking in the nature and just see and experience all that nature has to offer. When I started with the dream, it was something I planned on doing my own, and then I asked my son, Kelly Brander, if he would build it, and he said yes, he would build it. And he got really excited about it, and I started drawing up the plans and on graph paper and saying, well, I think this would be cool and this would be cool, and he got excited about it. And his wife, Carolyn, my daughter-in-law, she was excited about it too, and so Kelly said yes, he would build it. And as we moved on, it just made a lot of sense for us to become partners. So Kelly and Carolyn and I are partners, and it works out really well as a family-owned and operated business. Now this is the tile we're going to use?
Yeah, this will be the tile for the shower.
Can you just open it up and show it to me? The other thing I want to see is if that shelf, you know those shelves we bought over here? The eco part is really important to us, and our vision of eco, it's not, of course we could do better, you can always do better, but we have 3 geothermal furnaces, we have triple pane windows, we have all LED lights, we have an organic garden, I compost, we recycle, I haul loads of recycling into the recycling place, and we have very little garbage. We've kept our landscaping as natural as possible, just to lessen our footprint on the environment, and because it's so beautiful, why wouldn't we use this? And you notice instead of formal paths, like other than this boardwalk coming down, we just mow paths through the grass that's there. And we try to keep it a serene place, a very natural looking place for people to enjoy what nature has to offer. When I started on this venture, I had never been an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I had never been one. And partly because I was a single parent and I had 2 kids to support, so I just couldn't take the risk of starting my own business. And I always knew the first couple years would be difficult, and both financially and time-wise. And so when we started this project, I needed to write, first of all, the proposal for Parks to put this place here, and they put out a request for proposals, and they set up the criteria that they had, and it was very similar to a business plan, and I really didn't know how to write a business plan. So I went to Women Entrepreneurs, and they were very helpful. Agnes Barassa did the orientation session, and she was so good and so helpful, and one of the things that she has said that has stuck with me the whole while is, you can't do everything yourself. And so one of the things when I was writing the business plan, I was getting some assistance from women entrepreneurs, but I went to a friend of mine who is a bookkeeper, and I thought, I probably could learn, but I really don't know how to do Excel spreadsheets and financial projections and all that kind of thing. So I went to my friend who's the bookkeeper, and she did my financial projections with me. We sat down together and we kind of made the assumptions that we needed to make, and then she did the financial projections. So that was just immensely helpful. I am very proud. It's wonderful to see a dream come true, and this is a long-time dream I had. And one of the amazing things is to see people come and to experience what I wanted them to experience. So I wanted a place where people could come and relax and rejuvenate and enjoy and just breathe in and take in everything that there is to experience here and explore, adventure. And they do that. And everyone has different needs. Some people are really tired and they're just worn out, or they may have health issues. And they come and it's like, they just relax and they sit down and they feel wonderful. So I think that's the greatest joy that I get out of it, is just seeing people come and experience it the way that I had anticipated them wanting to experience it. And it's just a wonderful thing. So it's very rewarding.
Joining us now is the CEO of WESK, or Women Entrepreneurs Saskatchewan, Prabha Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
And I know you're busy, so we'll get right to it. We'd like to know, what is WESK? How long has it been around, and what exactly does it do?
So WESK has been around for 22 years, and we are funded by Western Economic Diversification Canada. We provide support for women who are wanting to start, grow, or buy a business. We offer business advising, financing, mentoring, and learning and connecting opportunities. So everything a woman needs to be successful in business.
Would that include funding as well? Any assistance that a potential women entrepreneur might need?
Actually, that's a very important part of the service we offer. We offer up to $150,000 in loans for women who are interested in starting their business, have a solid business plan or idea, and who are residents of Saskatchewan and over 18 years of age.
150 grand is a big leg up. So any potential women entrepreneurs out there, we're going to tell you how you can get a hold of Prabha and the gang in just a moment. But first, let's visit one of the WESK members who's actually benefited from your funding. Epic Alliance Electrical and Real Estate in Saskatoon, owned and operated by two women who met in prison. But it's not what you think. Check it out.
Yes, we'll get exact measurements, right? Yeah. And then we, lo and behold, were in Prince Albert in school. Rochelle was a first year and I was third year. So our joke is we always tell everybody we met in prison. And so it always gets everybody, they're like, what? And we're like, actually how it happened was this instructor came around and said, would you mind volunteering to go speak to the female inmates at the Pine Grove prison and talk about non-traditional work?
It was basically one thing led to another, and it came up in conversation when we were in school. We'd go for lunch or for supper every once in a while, just catch up, and whenever we got together, it was like, la, 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 talking nonstop.
Yeah, I never met anybody else like her.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, she can keep up, this is awesome. So, yeah, and then it came up in conversation that I was taking a month off after school to build a basement suite in my personal home, and then Alyssa's like, oh, I have a month off too, I'll come help you. And I was like, oh, that's cute, but I don't work well with others, so thank you, but no. And I don't know, I still don't know how she talked me into doing that, because I was like, I don't work
My
well
best
with others.
negotiation ever.
And, so then literally day one she shows up and we start working, and yeah, it was crazy. It's like she knew how to handle me because I'm very like my way or the highway, and you know, she'd be like, we go over the plan and I'm like, this is what we're doing, and she's like, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, and I'm like, no, like no one tells me no, like there's a door, you know, and she's like, oh, just hang on, like what if we did it this way?
Yeah, for sure. So you want the lights more centered over the overhang. You don't want it centered of the actual island because you want them to be a little closer to the seating.
If you learn something about me, I kind of like reading stats and I kind of like looking at different things. And one of the stats I read that was from 2012 that out of the electricians across Canada, only 1.02% were female. That's disgusting. I think there's various reasons for that stat. And that always hit my heart and bothered me. And we would talk about that kind of thing. And we were like, you know, what if you know, you always hear people talk about change. They always say, oh, something needs to change, this should change. You know, they just talk and talk and talk, but very few people will stand up and go, let's make a change. And so that's kind of one of the places that the electrical company came from, is let's make this change. I think a lot of young women don't look at it as an option just because they just don't even perceive it as something they could do. And I don't think that's right.
Well, and we've heard stories too from different interviews and stuff, and where these, you know, women, whether they're younger, older, whatever, come to us, and in the interview they're like, yeah, I wanted to do this, but my dad said no.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like that makes my skin crawl.
We don't only want to work with females, but we also want to work with Aboriginal people, and we also want to work with single parents. And again, that's, you know, the three trifecta of us. You know, Rochelle's an Aboriginal person, I'm a single parent, and we're both female.
And a lot of times those might be the people that feel like they're stuck in a corner, and then they have no options or no way out. So we just wanted to be able to be that stepping stone for people to rise above. And like Alyssa mentioned, you know, so many people talk about the change, but you know what? Be the change.
Exactly.
And there's too many people in our world that are just too content to let everybody else do it, and we're not those people.
No.
I'll run that faster. I'll get her making a list for it.
Well, Prabha, this is an exciting year for WESK because recently you've just gone through rebranding. Tell us about that.
Yes, so WESK was actually launched May 10th, 2017. Women Entrepreneurs has a very strong and credible history in Saskatchewan. But like Mark Zuckerberg, who is the co-founder of Facebook, said, the only strategy guaranteed to fail is not taking a risk. And so we asked a risky question. We asked, are we relevant today? Are we relevant for tomorrow? And we decided that it was important to undertake a rebranding because we wanted to create a brand that spoke to the entrepreneur of today and tomorrow, to every entrepreneur, regardless of age, culture, or stage of business development.
Now, there's likely, as we mentioned before, a lot of potential women entrepreneurs who are watching the show right now and are thinking, hey, I want to become a part of this organization. Well, how can they do that?
Well, they can do that by going to our website, which is womenentrepreneurs.sk.ca, or calling our office in Regina or Saskatoon.
Okay, well, again, thank you very much for your time today. And in fact, our final story, let's throw to another WESK member, the Star Cafe in Maple Creek. Now, the Star Cafe in Maple Creek is known for its passion for great food, really hardworking folks, and a recognition of historical spaces.
Success, I think the only thing that I need to be successful is to have people around me who share my interests, to have a happy and loving family, and to have a business or a concern that serves the community. There are three words that rule my world: customers, community, and collaboration. And I think those three words are the keys to success. I would bring $2, please. What I saw was a town that needed attention. You know how sometimes you walk into a garden and you can see the potential, you see the irises, you see the petunias, and it just needs some weeding and care and loving and water? The town had all the good bones. It had old buildings, it had wonderful people, it had great weather, but it had asphalt patches on the sidewalks and boarded up windows, and it just needed attention. And my passion is, I don't know, fixing things, I guess. So I decided that we'd stay, and we bought 132 Jasper, which is next door to this building, and started there. Well, I had been writing business plans and whatnot for some time. I used to do it for a living, so I didn't need that kind of service, but I sure needed the financial help. It eased us. We didn't have to go to other banks. We went to the bank, our bank, and we went to Women Entrepreneurs. But I think more than that, I support the network. I support the initiative. It's like I supported the Small Business Loans Associations, because it's people in your community, regardless of what that community is, helping other people in your community. And I'm not by any means exclusive in my women have to be helped more than men or anything like that. But I think everybody should have help to fulfill their dreams. And if some of that money is targeted for women's efforts, then let's use it well, and Women's Entrepreneurs of Saskatchewan does. What we want to do is give the customers a memorable experience. At all of our places, that's always what I've wanted. With first-time customers, we chat with them, we find out where they're from. If I can make a connection through that, we talk a little bit about where they're from and what the highlights are of where they live. We ask why they've been here. And we do that at the Grind, we do that at the Star. It's part of our welcoming procedure, and then we try and meet their needs. And so at the Grind, people want good coffee. People want a friendly atmosphere. People want a community coffee shop. So that's what we are. We're very lucky that we had a couple of people who believed in us. Women Entrepreneurs financed our first venture down here and then came in on the Star. And they loaned us a good amount of money to begin with as a second mortgage on the building. And then they helped us renovate the kitchen so that we could have a better kitchen. So they've been in the Star since we opened. And they have been understanding, and they have been supportive, and they have offered good advice, and we couldn't have done it without them. No, Val has been with us for 10 years, and she has a new car, she has bought a house, and she has a son, and she is our prime baker at the Star, and she runs the Grind, and she's my right-hand girl. She really is. You don't do these things for recognition. You do these things because they cry to be done. And you have to honor your roots. You have to honor the legacy that all of those hardworking people put into this town. It's not, it is my legacy because I've adopted this town, but we owe it to all of their descendants. We owe it to all the old folks in this town that this town doesn't die. And the only way to do that is to put some money and some hard work in and do it.
Well, that wraps up another edition of maxTV Magazine. We hope you found these stories of women entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan truly inspiring. We know we have. Until next time.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on maxTV Local On Demand, write us at max.local@sasktel.com.